Oh, hey, we're getting unwhelmed.
Good morning, or afternoon, or middle of the night, or whatever time it happens to be wherever you are. Welcome to Friday Unwhelminar. Today, we are continuing Strategic Planning Month and my birthday month of September by discussing vision. And I'm sure my video editor slash husband would like me to remind you that it is T-minus 3 days until my birthday. So if you're watching this live, that's the case. If you're watching this recorded version, the recorded version of this webinar, you are welcome to wish me a happy birthday anytime. I'll take birthday greetings year round. So as we jump into vision, I want to bring us to a place of focus and grounding. So we're going to jump in to our focus exercise. And once again, if you are watching this video, I will give you a beautiful place to rest your eyes. And if you are watching the recorded version, you'll be able to see it. If you are listening, if you can safely do so, close your eyes. But if you're driving and listening to this, please just keep your eyes on the road and do some breathing. But, stay focused, if you will. So today we are going to be looking at, once again, my fantastic dog. His name, by the way, is Peter Brady, and he's exactly sheer perfection, in case you were wondering. So with your eyes on my beautiful, perfect puppy, or closed gently, or focused softly somewhere in your environment, I invite you to take a moment to breathe into this space and this experience. With a big breath in through your nose and out on a sigh. And in through your nose and out on As your breathing returns to normal, I invite you to focus today on vision. I would like you to imagine your perfect surroundings in this moment. Whether it's a beautiful beach with swaying palm trees, or a babbling brook, or a whitewater river, or maybe it's a peaceful, tranquil forest and you can hear birdsong. Maybe it's the center of a library in a study carrel with the smell of books surrounding you. Maybe it's sitting on your motorcycle, listening only to the sound of the engine and the wind rushing through your helmet. Whatever that perfect moment is for you, I invite you to imagine it now. To use your senses to place yourself there. What do you see in that moment? What do you smell? Do you taste anything? What do you hear? What sensations are present for you? Where is your body connected to the earth or to your environment? Can you imagine that feeling right now? Hold that vision for 3 more breaths. In through your nose, and a brief hold, and release gently. Controlled and slow in through your nose, Brief hold and controlled and slow release. And one more big breath in and out. And as your breathing returns to normal, I invite you to visit this vision anytime you feel the need for a pause. Anytime you feel overwhelmed, simply close your eyes and with 3 deep, slow breaths, find yourself in this space, in this moment. Channel that energy and that feeling and that softness into the rest of your day. And may it hold you in a space of healing and grace. And may it help support you through your work and your life. When you're ready, you can open your eyes and join us back in this virtual space. Today, we are continuing our discussion of strategic planning, and I have said this every single week, and I'm fixing to say it again. This is my favorite part. Of course it is. The things that I love about vision and vision statements, especially for business, is that this is where your dream lives. This is what the world looks like when you have done your job. It is the place where you can take all of the expectations and fetters and tethers off of your dream, and you can put it out there out loud. To recap, values are those characteristics that you believe in so deeply, personally and as a business, that they guide everything you do. Every client you take on, every interaction is based in those values. And you use those values to align everything in your business. A mission and a mission statement answers the question, what do you do? What are you about? Who do you serve? How do you do that? It's very concise, it's concrete, it's very clear, and it's based in the present tense and should be describing what your actions are every day. Today's focus, vision, is a little bit different. Mission statements and vision statements are often confused, and they're often from a sort of marketing point of view, they're often released together because they do go hand in hand. But where a mission answers very specific questions about what you're doing right now, vision answers the questions about what you're going to do. A vision statement is what the world looks like when your goals have all been accomplished and when your mission, your company mission, has also been accomplished. When you can say, my work is done, what does the world look like? I also like to think of the vision statement as what the world looks like when people just do what I tell them to do. This is what the world would look like if they called me first. And just really, people should just call me first. And it's not because I'm bossy. Correction, it's not just because I'm bossy. And the vision statement isn't about someone else's feelings or view of the world. The vision statement is your world, it's your vision. So you get to be as bossy as you want. I also really enjoy vision statements because they have the opportunity to be that beacon, that lighthouse in the distance. And an ideal vision statement will really guide you. Rather than being the thing that you would do if you knew you could not fail, a vision statement is the thing that you would risk everything for. It's the thing that you would do no matter what. So, my vision statement at Unwhelmed Coaching is that we envision a world where all women have the emotional, technical, and financial support to realize their business dreams. That is not what we are doing right this minute. It is probably not a concrete goal. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to reach all of the women in all of the world and make sure this happens for them. But it's aspirational and it's inspirational. It's what the world would look like if I could reach into every corner and every pocket and make it happen. If I had a magic wand, this is what I would use it for. So if you had a magic wand, what would you use it for? It, aside from bringing golden thin Oreos back into production, what would you do in your business? So with that, I want to give a nod to the fact that this is another piece of strategic planning that can sometimes be overwhelming. And I also want to acknowledge that as a general rule in corporate America, aggressive late stage capitalism, yes, I'm going to climb back up on this soapbox into this spotlight and talk about it again. In the market where we are and the way that we exist now, traditional vision statements have been at odds with what we see companies doing. So if a company says their vision is a peaceful world, but their financial investments include companies that develop nuclear weapons, for instance, that's at odds. And we as a public and as consumers, when we see that, are once again programmed to go, oh, more strategic planning bullshit. They don't really mean it. That's not what they're working for. Or we see that they are working in a specific direction and it is absolutely not moving toward that vision. Enron is always my go-to example. I don't even know what their vision statement was, and I'm not going to take the time to look it up now because for me, Enron sort of encapsulates and symbolizes that late stage aggressive capitalism, that masculine economy that is win at any cost. And win as is defined as making as much money as possible and garnering as much power and holding on to it as possible for a very small group of white wealthy men. So I look at Enron's vision and mission and value statements now, and I still think that's bullshit. And given that the successful companies that exist now are defined by a masculine economy, and again, I'm not talking about specific companies outside of Enron. I'm talking about the general system of corporate America and how it has looked in the past. I'm grateful that we are seeing change. But in the grand scheme of things, in the way that we have been programmed and have understood environmentally what a strategic planning session might look like or what a strategic plan looks like, we often think as consumers, it's just a bunch of lies and a waste of time. Once again, I'm going to say, doesn't have to be, doesn't have to suck. It can be fun, and especially when you get into talking about your vision, it can be incredibly aspirational. So you may be thinking to yourself, well, really, what the hell is a vision statement and why do I need it? Once again, I will answer the question, can you have a successful company without this? Yes, absolutely. Have there been successful companies without a vision statement? You bet. Have there been companies who spend a lot of time on their vision statements and have a beautifully crafted vision statements that fail spectacularly or don't work toward their vision at all? Obviously. But if you're going to really focus on a heart-centered, inspiring, aspirational business plan and work every day toward that, you'll want a vision statement. It's incredibly important to keep yourself and your employees and your company focused. So again, a vision statement is what the world looks like when your goals have been achieved and your mission has been accomplished. It includes things like your long-term goals, the direction of your company or your work, the dream that you have for your work, and the aspirations you have for your work. And again, it's not what you would do if you knew you couldn't fail. It's what you would do even at a great risk to yourself. So often, female entrepreneurs, to put this into real life terms, we will do things like take out loans or use family savings or our own savings to finance our company. And that's a big risk. There are other ways that you can risk. You can quit your 9 to 5, and that feels like a risk. You can purchase things like equipment and website design and marketing materials, and those things are risks. So what is the thing that you would risk all of this for? It's used quite often and ideally as internal guidance. So if you have employees or staff, or if you have other business partners, your vision statement should spark all of your work. It should spark your long nights or your hard work or all of your preparation. You do it because of X. It should spark ambition within your team. It's the long-term purpose and shape of your company. Again, if you compare that to a mission statement is what are you doing right now? And a vision statement is what are you doing long-term? What's the reason you're here? What is the shape of your company or your work? It's future-based, though written in present tense, and it's not quite as concrete. Often a vision statement can fall into one of two categories. It can be content-based or quality-based, and we'll talk about that in a bit, but you can definitely center your vision in your values, or you can center it directly in your work, or you can center it in both. Like your mission statement, this is a piece of your strategic plan, aka all of it, that should be revisited often. In your first year, I recommend that you revisit this vision statement as part of your strategic plan monthly. So every month to go through a series of questions and make sure that your vision statement still resonates and still inspires. In your second and third years of business, I recommend that you revisit it quarterly. In the fourth and fifth years, semi-annually, and then 5 years of business and beyond, annually. That's just a general recommendation. And if you feel like you want to revisit that strategic plan every single month, good on ya. That's some general guidance. You should also revisit your vision statement and your overall strategic plan whenever your company experiences a major change. So by a major change and by your company, I could mean something like you have a change in direction. So you decide that instead of manufacturing one thing, you want to manufacture something else. And you have some really solid reasons around that that align with your values and your mission statement, or that are so inspiring that you need to change that. Other major changes might be a change in the market. So that could be a matter of something like, I don't know, a global pandemic that drives up supply chain, that messes up supply chain and drives up prices. It may be that someone else has created a thing that you're selling and it's gone viral. It may be that the market is saturated. It may be that you see a niche that is vision adjacent that you would like to shift to. It could also be a global event like a pandemic, or something like the protests against police brutality that occurred all over the nation and even globally. If you feel strongly moved by that, then this may be an opportunity for you to revisit what you're doing to move forward in your company. Your vision statement should be communicated often, both internally and externally. Though it is largely internal guidance, it does provide a measure of accountability, and it tells your public, your clients, your stakeholders, the world at large, where you're going and why, what you want to achieve. When you are revisiting your vision statement and your overall strategic plan, it really helps, and in a lot of cases is absolutely vital to get information and feedback from your stakeholders. That's employees, colleagues, business partners, contractors with whom you work very closely, people that you trust, and you can say, this is our vision statement. Are we working toward this vision? And if not, what ways are we straying from it, or where do we need to make some changes? Here's where we're going to get into a little bit of nuts and bolts about what a vision statement should look like, how you might craft it. I'm reiterating here, as we do in every piece, that this is a deeply personal piece of your business. And so if it feels right and looks right and sounds right to you, you're on the right track. So none of this is absolute law or rules. This is guidance. Take it as such. Your vision statement should be specific. It should be specific to you, to your industry, to your business. If your vision statement could apply to any business, it's not your vision statement. So if you say we work toward a better world, it might be just a little too vague, because I'm pretty sure there aren't companies out there with a stated vision of a worse world, even if that's what they're doing. It should be short, concise. So again, not meandering or too vague. It should be memorable, but it should not be extremely concrete. It should be inspirational and aspirational. It should be something that you would want to aspire to and that inspires you to action. You can use a formula the way you would in a mission statement, and you can use things as simple to jumpstart your process of thinking about and crafting your vision statement as, at X company, we envision blank. And you could use the formula, your company name, we work toward a world where blank. You could also say, at blank company, our ambition is to, etc., etc. Here are some guiding questions. Thinking about your company 5 to 10 years in the future, if everything goes well, goes right, goes according to plan, ask these questions of yourself. What do we want to do? Where do we want to go? What can we achieve? Now, some people would argue that in your vision statement, you should be asking about what you can achieve realistically. If that sits well with you and resonates, by all means, focus on what you can realistically achieve. Now, again, revisiting Unwhelmed Coaching's vision statement, a world where all women have the technical, financial, and emotional support to realize their business dreams, that is not something I can realistically achieve in the next 5 to 10 years. Probably not ever, but I'm okay with that, because if I aim for empowering every woman on the planet, but I only empower some of them, it's still a damn good goal. Other questions: what problems can we solve? What changes do we want to make for individuals in our sphere of influence? What changes can we make in our industry? What revolutions can we start, or can we progress? What movements do we want to be a part of? How will things be different? Not if your dream comes true, but when your dreams come true. What will be different when your dream is realized? What words or phrases describe what type of organization we want to be, what outcomes we want to see, and what are our dreams? When you think about those phrases or keywords, they should be specific to your industry and or your company. Because again, if a vision statement could describe anyone's vision, it's not your vision. I would like to talk more now about the masculine economy versus the feminine economy. Traditional strategic planning has been based in the masculine economy. As a reminder, The masculine economy goes hand in hand with late stage aggressive capitalism and sexism and racism and so many isms, ableism, ageism, all the isms. Well, fuck that. This is where the masculine economy has been based. And it is the overarching set of rules, regulations, and norms that govern American capitalism, which is where we do business. So in the past, a vision statement would have been centered in these values or things like them, even if it was not explicitly so stated. Things like scarcity consciousness, which says that there is only so much to go around, and so we have to compete for it. Perpetual consumption. You may remember that aggressive late-stage capitalism requires two things and two things that are primary: constant growth and constant profit, generally at the expense of everything else. So perpetual consumption says we need to keep buying, keep using, keep throwing away, not recycling or reusing or upcycling. The masculine economy is based in ego, about me, the person. The myth of meritocracy. So we only get things that we deserve, and we only deserve them if we fit a very specific profile. Individualism, linear growth, competition, non-accountability. So if you're in a position of power, in the masculine economy, you're not held accountable. You simply do what it takes to maintain your hold on that power and increase it, and maintain and increase your wealth. Stoicism is a highly valued characteristic in the masculine economy. We don't feel, and we certainly don't make business decisions based on feelings. Again, I say fuck that. In the masculine economy, the ends justify the means. So if you are screwing over the planet to increase profits for your stakeholders and your shareholders, and that is your purpose as a corporation, spoiler alert, that is the purpose of a corporation, then it doesn't matter how you get there, as long as you are delivering on profit for your shareholders. In a masculine economy, a hierarchy is valued. So there is a small group or a person at the top of the power pyramid, and at the bottom, those people with a lot of responsibility and very little power are those people who are performing the everyday duties of a corporation. Inequitable distribution of wealth is another characteristic of the masculine economy. And so those people at the top of that pyramid are making a shit ton of money and amassing power, while the people at the bottom of the pyramid have neither. Materialism and domination of people and nature also define a masculine economy. In contrast, and again, a spoiler alert, how many times can I say again? I feel like I'm just giving you the same messages. Could it be because they're important? Could be, could be. In a feminine economy, here are some defining characteristics, and they are not the only defining characteristics, just as those characteristics I mentioned in the masculine economy are not the only things defining it. The thing that I think I love most about a feminine economy is that it's smashing the systems, the norms, the rules, the regulations, and rebuilding from a different model in a way that doesn't currently exist. So we get to make up what we want the rules to be. Your vision statement, if you are leading your business from the heart, if your values are inspirational to you and they fill your soul, then your vision will be based in a feminine economy or a different model. If not, that's fine. You're probably not my client. We may not even be friends. Good on you. Enjoy yourself. But if you're here listening to this, my best bet is that you are dedicated to creating a new model, or you're at least on board with this movement that changes the way that we value business. In the feminine economy, we value asking questions and approaching with curiosity rather than judgment. We value intimacy, which means that when I'm developing relationships with my clients, with my partners, with my vendors, I'm asking questions about their daily personal life. I'm asking them about what moves them to be in business. Care and empathy. Those are some of the highest values that I hold at Unwhelmed Coaching. Other values and characteristics of a feminine economy: integrity, gratitude, abundance consciousness, because I believe that a rising tide lifts all boats. If one of us does better, we all do better. Community and global South improvement programs. So we're talking about programs that will lift entire communities out of poverty or reduce marginalization or lift people out of danger. So for instance, removing people from human trafficking, or reducing the chance that a community will lose their children due to preventable disease. These programs that exist at a nonprofit level and governmental level and a personal level often succeed when the women in communities and countries are empowered. Women who hold the seat of care and who are often most marginalized. When those women are lifted, whether through financial and technical assistance or emotional assistance or increased safety, the measurable outcomes of the health of those communities often improve much, much faster than with simply financial investment or programs that address a specific problem. Knowing that, imagine if we are in a well-resourced country, hi America, and if we have financial, technical, and emotional support, and what that does for our communities and the women and other people with whom we interact. Connecting with nature is another characteristic of the feminine economy that sets it apart from the masculine economy, because if we're connected with nature, then we're concerned about the impact of our business on the environment and the planet. I would love for you to take a deeper look at the feminine economy. These characteristics, this philosophy has been really well written about and articulated by Jennifer Armbrust, who wrote Proposals for a Feminine Economy and the Business Birthing Handbook. I encourage you to go visit sister.is and look at the projects that she's doing and the work that she's done, the writing that she's done. I also encourage you to look at their publishing house, The Fourth Wave is Feminism. This is a subject obviously near and dear to my heart. And if anybody has a connection to Jennifer Armbrust, please tell her how much we love her and that we would love to take on a sponsorship or a partnership, or maybe she could just come and hang out with us. That would be fine with me. Moving back to how does a masculine economy outlook versus a feminine economy outlook work in conjunction with your vision statements? I'd like to bring to light now a corporation type called B Corp. A B Corp is a corporation, which means that it's its own entity in the eyes of the law. It is not owned by a single person. It is owned by a group of people or a group of other corporations. A B Corp, this definition really resonated with me. A B Corp is a revolutionary social business that builds movements driven by people and enhanced by technology. What the hell does that mean? Isn't that buzzwords? Isn't that jargon? I believe that a revolution can be something as small as we deliver all of our products in handmade or upcycled materials, whether it's paper or fabric. That's a revolution. You are changing the way that packaging works, for instance. The revolution that I embrace at Unwhelmed Coaching is that we lead from the heart and we value community and empowerment above all else. That's revolutionary because we don't value profit or growth above others. B Corps have a specific set of responsibilities. They must show, in order to be certified as a B Corp, what they are doing to improve the communities and the world, the communities in which they operate and the world in which they operate. They must prove what they are doing and for environmental responsibility. There's a very strict and stringent process to become certified as a B Corp, and some famous corporations that you may not even know are B Corps. Ben & Jerry's ice cream, for instance, is a B Corp. Patagonia. There are others that you can, just a quick Google search will give you a list of American and global B Corps. There are 3 corporations that I just want to draw attention to and to their vision statements. There's a company called Interface. They make carpet tiles. And I believe they also make other flooring products. But their vision is, we are Interface and we are changing the world. The way that they live their everyday business is that they have a net zero environmental impact in an industry, flooring, that is one of the largest polluters globally and one of the most toxic processes. There's kind of an amazing documentary about that. At some point, I will try to remember the name of it and pop it in the Facebook comments. But the carpeting and flooring industry has routinely decimated entire swaths of the globe, particularly in India and Mexico. Interface is changing that in everyday interactions and actions within their company, and they're changing it on a global scale by becoming a net zero environmental impact in carpet making, which with just a slightly deeper look will blow your mind. Another corporation I want to draw attention to is B Lab, which is ironically a B Corp certification company. Their vision statement says, we envision a global economy that uses business as a force for good. Sounds awfully familiar, almost like the feminine business model that says business can be a force for healing. B Lab's vision statement goes on to say, this economy is comprised of a new type of corporation, the B Corporation, which is purpose-driven and creates benefit for all stakeholders, not just shareholders. This is significant because the purpose of a corporation is to make money for its shareholders, which is the people or other entities that hold ownership. B Lab draws attention to the difference between stakeholders and shareholders. Stakeholders are everyone who has an interest in or is impacted by your business. So your stakeholders could include the entire world. Your stakeholders could include the earth itself or the environment, which brings me to Patagonia. Recently, Patagonia, which is a clothing and equipment company for outdoors, sports, and activities. And lately they were in the news because they have turned over ownership of the entire company to 2 entities. One is the Patagonia Purpose Trust, and one is the Hold Fast Collective. That means that there aren't people who are stakeholders in Patagonia, and there are not other profit-making corporations who own Patagonia. Instead, ownership is held by these 2 entities dedicated to environmental sustainability, responsibility, and repair. They also have a self-imposed 1% earth tax, which is that they take 1% of all of their sales and they reinvest it in earth-friendly or responsible activities or educational and action organizations. They invest in sports activists where they use sports as a catalyst for change and as an entry point for people to engage in environmental responsibility. They also have a program called Action Works on their website. You can simply go to patagonia.com and you can check out their Action Works program, and it gives their consumers a place to enter into activity and activism around the earth. Patagonia's CEO was quoted as saying, "Earth is now our only stakeholder." If you are really interested in social responsibility, environmental sustainability, if this is where you want your company to go, take a look at the B Corp requirements for certification. You can use that certification process as a litmus test or a checklist for how you operate in business. And if that's your goal to become a B Corp, you can start working toward that right now, and you can bake it into, it can be part of the DNA of your company by using it to craft your strategic plan and to craft how you communicate that with your mission and vision statements. I want to draw attention now to what I mentioned earlier, that vision statements are often crafted around content or around quality. So you can craft your vision statement around your deepest values and how you want the world to look in general. You can also craft your vision statement to be specific to your industry. So some examples of that are LinkedIn, create economic opportunity for every member of the global workforce. BBC, to be the most creative organization in the world. That's aspirational. IKEA, to create a better everyday life for the many people. Instagram, capture and share the world's moments. Again, please notice that these are not things that are happening right now. They're not concrete. They're not exactly measurable. They're not who we do this for, why we do it, and what we do. They are, what do we want the world to look like? Those are based around the things that these companies do. And then there are other ways to look at your vision statement. Here are some that are based sort of in quality. Nordstrom says, our vision is to serve customers better, to always be relevant in their lives, and to form lifelong relationships. That's about how they do business and the characteristics that they want to embody. Warby Parker, an eyeglass company. We believe that buying glasses should be easy and fun. It should leave you happy and good looking with money in your pocket. We also believe that everyone has the right to see. What? What? A basic human right? Other quality-based vision statements. Ben & Jerry's, making the best ice cream in the nicest possible way. I mean, it just sounds like they're out of Ohio. Sounds like they're just Midwest down home. Avon has a vision to be the company that best understands and satisfies the product, service, and self-fulfillment needs of women globally. That's incredibly aspirational. So you can see that there is this, as in every other strategic planning component, there's a vast array of ways you can get it right. There are also a lot of ways to get it wrong. And one of my favorite things is to talk about the worst mission statements in the world. Those are hilarious. Check out our other Unwhelminars for some of that goodness. There are also some really horrible vision statements, but because I really want you to focus on the positive aspects of vision statements, I'm not going to go into those. Feel free to simply Google worst vision statements and have yourself a good laugh. This is what I want for you and what we at Unwhelmed Coaching want for your business. I want your vision to inspire you every day. I want you to look at your vision statement and say, yes, that is worth risking everything for. Yes, that is worth everything that I do. If you think about strategic planning in the metaphor of travel, say it's train travel, your values in a train journey would be your train track. They guide everything you do. Your mission might be the train itself. the people that it carries, the destination that it's going, how it's getting there. Your vision will be your ultimate destination. If you use road travel as an analogy, your strategic plan is your map. Your mission is your car that you're driving in and your passengers in your car. Your vision is your ultimate destination. If you're climbing a mountain, your vision is the top of that mountain. Here's a piece that I would like to talk about that's really important to remember and that we often don't talk about. And that is that, once again, here I go. Once again, I'm saying again, I am once again asking you to consider this. Thanks, Bernie. I would like you to consider that your strategic plan is not permanent. It is not carved in stone unless you want to carve it there, that's fine. I do recognize that if you are a part of a large team, if you're part of a large corporation, if you are working with a huge group of people, that changing vision, mission, goal, and other strategic planning components will be much more difficult. If that's the case, you've probably been in business more than 2 years and you probably are looking at your vision and mission and strategic plan more annually, and you're doing it at a very high level with the input of your stakeholders. But if you're your own business, if you're a sole proprietor or you have a small team, you're in business with a colleague or a few partners, then you have the opportunity at the base and the beginning and the startup, and as you're growing your company, to really evaluate your strategic plan and to recognize that if your vision no longer fits, if it doesn't inspire you, or if you have changed direction, just like your mission statement and your values, you have these two places, the end result of your vision and what you're doing right now. And if there's not a line between those two things, you have to change one or the other, or both. So if you, for instance, maybe we know somebody who did this allegedly. If you start a middle school, for instance, and your vision is to grow this educational experience for students from preschool to post high school graduation, and that's your vision, that's what you really are working toward. And let's say you put 4 or 5 years of your life into that vision. I'm just saying, again, I'm not sure I know anybody who did this. Wait, it was me. I got to what was sort of a plateau or the top of a mountain. We opened a school. It was amazing. We were doing it. We were living this dream. And I got to the top of the mountain and the view was obscured by clouds and fog. And it was a shit show. And I was frustrated. And my personal vision was no longer in alignment with this dream of providing an incredible educational experience for humans. At that point, I could have said, this is the wrong mountain. I'm going to go over here, continue building toward this vision, and keep that vision in mind and reshape everything I'm doing every day to get to there. Or I could have said, this vision doesn't suit me anymore, or I can no longer see the end result, and I don't feel that it's worth risking everything for. You can guess which path I chose because I'm not broadcasting this Unwhelminar from my office as a school administrator. No, I am not. I am talking to you from my beautiful home in Santa Fe because when I realized that I was no longer willing to risk everything for that vision, I just scrapped it. We sold everything and moved from one state to another with just a wing and a prayer. I worked really hard over the next few years to really do a lot of internal work to determine what are my values, what do I want to do, and what is my vision. And this vision of empowering other women, of creating community, resonates with me on every level. And in retrospect, looking back at my previous efforts, I can see that that's a thread that has run through all of my entrepreneurial, community organizing, corporate, and nonprofit work. I tell you this story not as a cautionary tale. If you want to shift careers in the middle of your 40s, that's your prerogative, even if people call you crazy. Again, allegedly. But it is this opportunity to recognize that there's never a time that's too late or wrong for you to determine your own vision and to determine the vision of your company or your business or your everyday life or activism. This is your vision, and if it doesn't work, change your vision or change your path, change your destination or change your road. This is your vision, and it is not in stone. It is flexible, it is movable and malleable, and you will know that you are really embodying your vision in your business when every single day you look at that vision and you go, yes, this is what I stand for. This is what I risk everything for. I'm going to climb down off my soapbox now, and I'm going to invite you in the comments of our social media posts on Facebook or in the comments of our other social media posts. I'm going to invite you to email us or hop on over to the website and fill out a form or whatever way you want to reach out to us and tell us your vision. If you want to share what you're working toward, I want to hear it. I want to know what motivates you, what fires you up, what are you willing to risk everything for? That is motivating and inspiring to me. Next week, we will be wrapping up our strategic planning month with a look at goals. Goals are incredibly overwhelming to so many of us. How do you set them? How do you measure them? How do you stay on track? We'll give you some nuts and bolts, specific direction about crafting and maintaining progress toward your goals. We'll talk to you about how to shape outcomes, how to determine what those outcomes are, and how to keep measuring them. It's a lot, and it will probably, if you're really digging this, it's going to be a little bit unsatisfying because you really are going to want more. That's great. You can get more. There will be a lot of resources on the website. We will be developing mini courses where we're going to do a little bit deeper dive, and we will also be working on and developing and expanding this material so that we can really deliver strategic planning for you. Visit us at unwhelmcoaching.com. You can find us on any of the social medias, and by any, I mean TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook, because not Twitter, at our handle at unwhelmcoaching.com. And you can always hit me up, hey, at unwhelmcoaching.com or Katie at unwhelmcoaching.com. Thanks for joining us for another phenomenal Unwhelminar, where we have an hour of our time dedicated to building up your badass self and sharing our expertise, advice, and experience and vulnerability for free. Thanks, and we'll see you soon.
Oh, hey, we're getting unwhelmed.
And as always, you can catch all of our recordings on our website at unwhelmcoaching.com.